Hello, and welcome back to AbsurdLand. These haunting photos from the past hold dark secrets and eerie backstories that might just send chills down your spine. Let's dive into the forgotten moments captured in history. Stanford Prison Experiment, 1971. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo's infamous experiment showed how quickly people adopt harmful behaviors when given authority. Students were assigned roles as guards and prisoners, and within days, the guards became cruel and the prisoners emotionally shattered. The study was abruptly stopped after just 6 days due to the disturbing results, sparking debates about the influence of power and the ethics of psychological experiments. This haunting image from the early 1900s shows an X-ray technician's hand ravaged by radiation exposure. Back then, the dangers of X-rays, discovered in 1895, were poorly understood. The fingers show severe damage, known as Röntgen hands. From repeated exposure to the beam, many early radiologists paid a heavy price, often leading to amputations due to cancer. Teeth filing in tribes. In some tribes, teeth are filed to sharp points as a rite of passage or to signify beauty, strength, or status. This practice, while shocking to outsiders, has deep cultural significance, often linked to spiritual beliefs or tribal identity. In 1961, 11-year-old Terry Jo Dupereau survived a brutal massacre at sea. After the captain of their boat murdered her family to cover up an insurance scam, Terry Jo floated alone for 4 days on a small raft, suffering dehydration and exposure. When she was rescued, her shocking survival revealed the horrifying truth, and the captain, Julian Harvey, killed himself upon learning she was alive. Shackleton's Antarctic Expedition, 1916. Trapped by ice, Ernest Shackleton's crew abandoned their ship, the Endurance, and began a grueling trek across Antarctica. The men faced starvation, frostbite, and freezing temperatures that plummeted below -90 degrees Fahrenheit. Surviving on almost nothing, sometimes just half a biscuit per day, the crew miraculously made it to safety, becoming legendary symbols of human endurance against impossible odds. Joachim Kroll, known as the Ruhr Cannibal, admitted to taking the lives of 14 individuals, including children, over 2 decades. His actions came to light when neighbors reported plumbing issues, prompting police to find unsettling evidence in his pipes. Kroll claimed this was a cost-saving measure and received a life sentence. A haunting image of him reenacting a crime underscores the gravity of his actions. This crazy photo shows the Kang, an ancient punishment collar that trapped its wearer in isolation, often with their crime written on it for all to see. Heavy and restrictive, it left the person unable to move or feed themselves, relying on the mercy or cruelty of passers-by. A brutal form of justice, it turned suffering into a public spectacle. A whale's remains in Alaska, 1910. The whale tied up in this photo was brought to the Tai Company whaling station, located in the ominously named Murder Cove. Although the station processed hundreds of whales from 1907 to 1913, the name actually comes from the 1869 murder of 2 prospectors who were violently slain in the area. Pennsylvania Breaker Boys, 1911. The Breaker Boys, some as young as 8, worked long hours in coal mines, sorting through sharp coal and dangerous debris by hand. The law meant to protect them was rarely enforced, and many suffered injuries or lifelong health problems. The image of these soot-covered children became a powerful symbol in the fight for child labor reform. Oldest surviving diving suit, 18th century. This crude but groundbreaking 18th century diving suit allowed early explorers to brave the unknown depths of the ocean. Made of leather and heavy metal, it was an eerie precursor to modern diving technology, and its design hints at the sheer danger faced by early divers. Remains of a pirate shipwreck. The bell recovered from the wreck of the Whydah Galley, a notorious pirate ship that sank off Cape Cod, is a haunting relic of a violent past. The ship was part of the pirate Black Sam Bellamy's fleet and sank in 1717, taking most of its crew to a watery grave, along with vast treasures. This wax figure was created based on an unknown pregnant woman who tragically died after being run over by a carriage in the 1700s near the Royal College of Surgeons in San Carlos. Her body, unclaimed at the time, was used for medical dissection by students. Recently exhibited in a Madrid museum, figures like this were essential for teaching anatomy during times when cadavers were limited, highlighting the intersection of science and art during the Enlightenment. The Mona Lisa, stolen from the Louvre, 1911. Her absence went unnoticed for over 24 hours. Joe Arity, right, is giving his toy train to fellow inmate before leaving to death row. Joe, 23, with the mental age of 5, IQ 48, was executed for rape murder together with the actual perpetrator. He was smiling till the very end, for he did not understand what is happening. January 6, 1939. The temporary grave of Theodore Roosevelt in Normandy, soon after his death, July 1944. He was reburied in the United States a year later. An anti-communist revolutionary holds a Molotov cocktail behind his back during the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. This uprising was part of a larger wave of anti-Soviet protests across Eastern Europe. Australian soldiers thrown into the air after their boat sailed onto an explosive device. No one was seriously injured. 1942. The world's last commercial ocean-going sailing ship, the Pamir, rounding Cape Horn, 1949. It sank 8 years later, becoming the last such ship to be lost at sea. A Lebanese resident of Berlin drags an 85-pound cross toward the Brandenburg Gate to protest the building of the Berlin Wall. October 1961. East German border guards denied him entry. Weapons and ammunition found in Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow's car after their death, 1934. Their arsenal included over 10 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. High school teacher John T. Scopes is brought to trial in Dayton, Tennessee for teaching the theory of evolution, which was prohibited under state law. July 10, 1925. He was found guilty and fined $100, highlighting the conflict between science and religion. Vladimir Putin at the age of 5 with Maria Ivanova. Russian SFSR, Soviet Union. July 1958. He was born in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, a city with a rich history. JFK's funeral at the Capitol, November 1963. Over 1 million people lined the streets to pay their respects, marking a significant moment in American history. Inside of an airplane in 1930, cabins were unpressurized, so flights were much noisier and slower compared to modern standards. Allied war correspondents examining the couch in Adolf Hitler's bunker, on which he is thought to have shot himself with his wife, Eva Braun, on April 30, 1945. John Lewis smiles while getting his mugshot taken after being arrested for using a white bathroom in segregated Mississippi in 1961. His act of defiance became a symbol of the civil rights movement. A group of Filipino men point to a well in which women and children were thrown, then crushed with rocks, during a massacre committed by Japanese occupation forces. Between October 1944 and May 1945, the Japanese slaughtered nearly 25,000 civilians in the Batangas province. Inside the control room of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, 1986. The disaster led to significant changes in nuclear safety protocols worldwide. Miners in the Serra Pelada gold mines in Brazil, 1980s. This site attracted thousands of prospectors seeking fortune in gold. Israeli soldier taking a glass of water from the Jordan River after the Six-Day War. On his left arm is a serial number from the Holocaust, July 1967. This tattoo serves as a powerful reminder of the atrocities faced by Jews during World War II. San Francisco's iconic Cliff House, shortly before it was destroyed by fire in 1907. The Cliff House was a popular tourist destination, known for its scenic views. President George A.W. Bush gazes at the Capitol in helicopter after leaving Clinton inauguration, 1992. Soviet soldiers on their backs launch a volley of bullets at enemy aircraft in June of 1943. Jewish refugees in Zilesheim DP camp protest British restrictions on Jewish immigration to mandatory Palestine between 1945 to 1948. David Isom, 19, broke the color line in a segregated pool in Florida on June 8, 1958, which resulted in officials closing the facility. His actions challenged segregation in public spaces. A menorah stands on the windowsill of a Jewish home across from Nazi Party headquarters in Kiel, Germany in 1932. This juxtaposition symbolizes resilience in the face of rising anti-Semitism. Earliest known photo of Chernobyl disaster, taken by power plant's photographer, dawn of April 26, 1986. This photo captures the beginning of one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. 14-year-old Mohawk and future Olympic gold medalist Wanique Hornmiller cradling her younger sister after she herself was bayoneted in the chest by a Canadian soldier. Quebec, Oka crisis, the 26th of September 1990. Marines search for Haitian rebels during U.S. occupation. Haiti, 1919. The man who refused to salute Hitler. August Landmasser fell in love with a Jewish woman who, before they could marry, was sent to a concentration camp. Before he would be sent to a labor camp, this picture captured Landmasser in 1936. The Prime Minister of Singapore Lee Kuan Yew crying on national television while announcing the separation of Singapore from Malaysia, 1965. This marked a pivotal moment in Singapore's history, leading to its independence. A photo of Mbaye Diagne, a UN peacekeeper who disobeyed his orders to stand down during the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Acting entirely on his own initiative, he embarked on rescue missions. He is credited with single-handedly saving the lives of as many as 1,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Japanese porn star and ultranationalist Mitsuyasu Maeno poses next to his plane before flying off to kamikaze his aircraft into the home of right-wing politician Yoshio Kodama, the 23rd of March 1976. British schoolboys holding discarded syringes, 1970s. We used to play with these in school all the time because they were like mini water pistols without the needle. George Rockwell, leader of the American Nazi Party, listening to Malcolm X speak in a Nation of Islam meeting, June 25, 1961. Crowd in Times Square, New York City celebrating the surrender of Germany, May 7, 1945. This moment marked the end of World War II in Europe. A German and a Soviet officer shaking hands at the end of the invasion of Poland, October 1939. This handshake symbolized the division of Eastern Europe between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. View of Boston, the oldest surviving aerial photograph ever taken. October 13, 1860. A babushka keeps the ears of her grandson warm as he takes an oath of enlistment for the Russian army. Volgograd, 1994. Photo taken by Nikolai Ignatieff. Anti-British propaganda, Japan, 1941. This propaganda was used to rally support for the war against the Allies. Ruby Bridges, the first African American to attend a white elementary school in the Deep South, 1960. Her courage became a symbol of the fight against segregation in education. Young punks in socialist Hungary, Budapest, 1982. This generation expressed their dissent against the regime through music and fashion. Manhattan in 1931. That picture shows why the Empire State Building was truly mind-boggling when it opened. It just towers over everything else. President Kennedy bids farewell to his father, Joseph P. Kennedy, as he departs the family compound at Hyannisport, Massachusetts, for what would be their last meeting, 1963. The McDonald brothers in front of the not-yet-opened first McDonald's, November 1948, San Bernardino, California. This restaurant would eventually revolutionize fast food globally. A Chinese lady whose feet were bound from childhood, late 1800s. Foot binding was a tradition that symbolized beauty and status in Chinese culture. The lottery used by the Selective Service to determine who would be drafted for Vietnam first. In each capsule is a day of the year, determining the order of draftees by their birthday. Washington, D.C., 1969. The eyes of the world are upon you. June 5, 1944, one day before D-Day. This statement captured the gravity of the upcoming invasion and its global significance. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Sturm is greeted by his family, returning home after more than 5 years as a prisoner of war in North Vietnam. 1973. His return was a significant moment in the Vietnam War era. A salesman has his motorized roller skates refueled at a gas station, 1961. This reflects the innovative spirit of the 1960s and the era's fascination with technology. Danish resistance fighters holding up and disarming German soldiers, Copenhagen, 1945. This act of bravery symbolized the fight against Nazi occupation in Denmark. In response to the anti-Japanese sentiment that followed the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese American Citizens League opened the Anti-Axis Committee office on December 14, 1941. It was part of their campaign to demonstrate the loyalty of American-born Japanese citizens to the U.S. The White House seemed totally gutted during the Truman renovation, around 1950. This extensive renovation modernized the historic building and repaired war damages. The members of the Dutch girl band Babe visiting Dutch peacekeepers in Lebanon, 1980. Their visit aimed to boost the morale of the peacekeepers amid the ongoing conflict. Inhabitants of St. Kilda, Outer Hebrides, Scotland, 1926. This remote island community was known for its unique culture and isolation. Hong Kong police officers change cap badges at the stroke of midnight following the handover of sovereignty to China, 1997, July 1st. This marked the end of British rule and a significant moment in Hong Kong's history. Barack Obama Sr. and his son. This was the only time he ever met him. 1971. This brief encounter carried profound significance for Obama's identity and family history. A geisha wearing a Western-style swimsuit, Japan, around 1900. This image reflects the cultural blending and modernization occurring in Japan at the time. Barricades on the Rue Saint-Maur, Paris, before the attack. The 25th of June, 1848. IRA members Patrick Moran and Thomas Whelan shaking hands in prison, the day before they are to be executed for assassinating British spies. March 1921. Photograph showing inventor Charles S.L. Baker and his assistant demonstrating heating radiator system. 1906. US and Soviet soldiers hug each other after meeting on the Elbe River. April 1945. London policemen testing out life jackets by jumping into the River Thames. 1930s. Dismantling the Berlin Wall. 1989. A pivotal moment ending Germany's division and symbolizing the close of the Cold War.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.